In the last video about the layers panel, we didn't discuss blend modes, so we're going to do a video just on blend modes. I'm going to use an example that's not very photographic, but it's easier to see the effect. In the part 3, where we pulled together layers and we pulled together part 2's masking and selection, you'll see how we can use the blend modes for a photographic effect. So let's look at this panorama of downtown, and I want to overlay this logo over it, but I want to blend it in. So first I need to create a layer. To do that, select your Move tool, click anywhere on the image, drag it up to your tab until the image you want to create a layer on is displayed. Then drag it down anywhere within the image and then let go of your mouse. And there it is, created a layer for you. And you can see you can move the logo around anywhere you want. Now, right now the logo is kind of pretty intrusive in the photo, and I want to blend it into the photo better. So what I would do with my layer selected, in fact, let's just go ahead and put in logo. That's my logo layer, and let's look at the blend modes. There are a lot of them, but there are really only 4 that you're going to use over and over again. So we're going to limit our discussion to those 4. The first section are blend modes that have to do with darkening. The second section has to do with lightening a layer. And then this layer here has to do with contrast. So the first one we're going to discuss is multiply. What multiply does is it removes lighter portions, blends lighter portions in, and leaves darker portions. So let's hit multiply and see what it does. Okay, so that was pretty stark. It had a white background, so it removed the white background, but the black it kept. So we have, without having to do any fancy selection, we now have a transparent logo that we can put anywhere we want. So let's say we want to do the opposite of that. We want to leave the lighter sections but blend in the darker sections. We would go to the lighten section and we would use screen, and let's watch what happens. The white returns, but the black is now transparent. The darker ones are now transparent. You can see that it's blending wherever we place this layer over, it is blending the layer behind it. The last 2 modes we're going to look at, soft light and overlay, are going to need a little different demo to reveal what they do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. And if you remember, we go down to our layer menu and we click on what looks like a blank page. And so I have a new layer here. And I want to create let's put a little rectangle here, and inside that rectangle I'm going to create a gradient. So let's select that gradient, and this is going to be a white to black gradient, so I'll put that inside here. And then I want to duplicate this layer, so I can right click and select duplicate layer, or what is more common and something you should use is the keyboard shortcut, which is Control J. So I now have a second layer. Let me grab my move tool so I can move them side by side. Now I have two rectangles going from white to dark, and in the middle is 50% gray. What soft light and overlay do is they lighten everything that is less than 50% gray and darken everything greater than 50% gray. The difference between the two, sort of indicated by their name, is soft light does this in a less intense manner and overlay does it in sort of a harsh manner. But they both have their uses. So let's select one of these layers. We'll select this one, layer 2 here, and we're going to change the blend mode to soft light. So you can see that everything here that was lighter is lightening under the layer. Everything here greater than 50% is darkening. So let's go to our next layer, layer 1, and let's change that to overlay. Okay, it is the same effect but much more intense. You can see the lightening up here and darkening down here. So if you compare the two, you can see this is a more natural darkening, this is a harsh darkening, a more natural light, and a harsh light. Believe it or not, this effect can be used to great advantage in sharpening your photos. So in part 3, when we're going over the photo effects, we'll talk about how to use that in the sharpening mode.